Hello and welcome back to where I answer questions that you ask me in Discord. I'm Devin Nash. I run a company called Novo, and I talk about marketing, advertising, and attention on the internet. So I'm answering your questions again. I'm committed to get through these. We are about a year behind. Here we go. We're starting on 12/10/2021. No, 12/09/2021. We ended on this gym thing about personal training. So hi, I'm 18 months. I've grown to the point where I'm happily leading the niche in Minecraft streamers on Facebook Gaming. Should I consider splitting my content onto other VOD platforms for some stability, or is my time and effort best spent going towards Facebook? So it's interesting that this question was asked a year ago because now it's like pretty relevant. It's my take at least that Meta seems to be folding Facebook Gaming into somewhere else, or they are like downplaying Facebook Gaming in some way. You can see that by them canceling the mobile app, or they're kind of folding it into the Meta app or whatever. I'm not actually sure what's happening with Facebook Gaming, but regardless, like the thrust of your question is like, should I syndicate content? VOD stuff, like whenever you're making any kind of video stuff, there's no reason to not syndicate that to other places. So like I don't know why every YouTuber doesn't just put all their stuff on Vimeo or like whatever the other platforms, on Facebook, for example, as well. There's no reason why you shouldn't upload to other places. It's just more discoverability. It's the same thing with like live streaming. You should always live stream on multiple platforms at once because it's just more discoverability. So the answer is yes. I mean, obviously, like I say, like what I say is like you should focus on two platforms. And I think that like most reasonable people that don't have teams or don't pay like monthly to build a team that's going to like add more content to them, those people should focus on two platforms and then syndicate to the rest. So like for me, for example, I focus on YouTube and Twitter. Those are my two platforms that I really work on. And then sometimes I might syndicate content to other platforms, but I don't really worry about it. Two platforms is all you need for like a full-time business, you know, making multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I mean, really one platform is, but yeah. Hi, I made a YouTube short with zero effort. It's different from my normal content. I got 20K views. I tried to make a follow-up, but it didn't go anywhere. I think that's really normal for YouTube shorts. I don't see a lot of value in YouTube shorts right now. I don't think that they really add a lot to the conversation. I've been talking about this a lot more in the Patreon and the mastermind talks that we have, where a lot of the data that I have coming in on shorts is showing that they generate an enormous amount of views because the barrier to entry is very low and because they're on their own carousel. So like they're on their own shelf on YouTube. They have their own section. But those users don't tend to convert upwards into subscribers to more long-form content. They don't buy things. They don't even seem to associate it like with the brand as much. Now, there are always like exceptions to this. Like, you know, out of 10,000 viewers, maybe a few are going to become like dedicated. So like, obviously you'll get some conversion, but that conversion is very low. So I actually like, just to give you an idea of just how little I value this, when I'm looking for people to sponsor, like I'm very frequently looking to sponsor creators with various brands that we're in contact with my agency, we literally just don't regard shorts creators as people we can sponsor. The reason for that is just like the CPMs, the advertising functionality, it's too hard. Whereas you take like a VOD that's like, you know, anywhere between like 8 to 12 minutes, you have what's called a mid-roll and an intro roll. So like you'll see this formula a lot on YouTube where somebody will say, this video is sponsored by Spotify, but more on that later. And then like halfway through, they'll do like a 30-second ad read of what Spotify is, for example. That'll be like a typical ad read. You can't do that on shorts. So shorts don't have that much value to brands. They don't have that much value to you as a content creator because you can't monetize those viewers. So it looks really impressive getting 20,000 viewers, but it doesn't really matter, right? Like this is something that a lot of people mess up in marketing, is that like viewers are not equal, right? So you could have 30,000 viewers on a Twitch stream, and you could have a 3,000 viewer or a 300 viewer Twitch stream be far more valuable than that 30,000 viewer Twitch stream. And that happens all the time. And you could also have 30,000 views on a YouTube video, and you could have 30,000 views on another YouTube video, and those views are not equal at all. They're based on different categories. They're monetized differently. They're engaged differently. It matters much more that you're building a brand based on having focused and dedicated users who are actually going to do something if you ask them to, than it does for you to have like shorts content that's generating hundreds of thousands of views. Someone offered me a shorts channel that was like, hey, I get 1 million views per video on these shorts. And someone said, hey, I've got a 50,000 subscriber channel that has dedicated users that are like watching 15K per video. I would take the long form, YouTube channel every single time. I take the 50,000 subs every single time. Thanks for asking about YouTube to Mr. Beast and Dream on the Scuff podcast. Okay, this is not a question. What would you tell yourself that would speed up the learning process of YouTube so that you don't spend years testing with thumbnails and titles and content? I think there's so many good places to go for like knowledge of how to create great content, like Patty Galloway, for example. Like you literally just watch every Patty Galloway video and have a good enough idea that at that point, the only thing holding you back is like physical skill, like editing, which you can learn from like Udemy, or or any of like the podcasts like Mr. Beast, like when he shows up on a podcast every once in a while. Learning like the stuff of YouTube and the science of YouTube is like really easy at this point. Matthew Beam like recently grew 1 million subscribers in 6 months, just basically listening to like literally just like following what I just said, like Patty Galloway videos and like watching Mr. Beast on podcasts. Like the formula is all there for anybody that wants to do it. It's just that nobody wants to do it. It's pretty easy now. Yeah, I don't feel like it's difficult at all. I feel like there's so many resources out there, and if anything, like the danger is you're overworking, you're like overanalyzing, and like you're not just like actually making the videos. We're getting through them quick today. You talked in Patreon about structuring your goals with as much specificity as possible. How do you structure right now goals when things you need to do to accomplish them are more complicated and interconnected? For example, a goal like climbing El Cap in Yosemite would necessitate a combination of dietary, physical, mental, monetary, and skill-based goals. So like, I don't agree. I think there's a presumption baked into this question. So like, for example, when I was a PT, like a lot of people would say going to the gym is really hard because you have to plan out when you're going to go. You have to find your gym clothes. You have to like get in the car. You have to go to the gym. Like you have to like bring your water. You have to make sure like you are eating well. Like they're like they'd come up with all these like a million billion different reasons why going to the gym is difficult. But in reality, it's just like going to the gym, right? So if you want to climb like a huge mountain, or you wanted to do something that well, I guess I'll give a literal example. So one of the events that I used to compete in, and I'll probably compete in again at some point, is Tough Mudder, which is like the one I did was like a 12-hour multi-mile like race course thing where you have to like go do these obstacles and you have to run to each obstacle. So it's multiple miles of running. It's a marathon on top of doing like a bunch of like these physical challenges, like climbing walls and going through ice water and shit. It's pretty hard. And to plan for that, I just like reversed and I said, okay, what like, first of all, you can't like really plan, like you can't know exactly what for like a highly physical thing your body is going to be able to do. So there's two techniques I would use to plan for very complicated goals. The first thing I would do is I would say, what would I have to do to absolutely fail at this? So for example, like if I'm going to climb a mountain like El Capitan, I would say, well, if I sit around all day and if I eat junk food and I don't ever work out and I don't look at the routes, right? I'll just go down the list and make those things. And then from that, I'll have a pretty good idea of like what I do need to do by asking myself what I don't need to do. It's a good technique for almost anything, by the way, is just like reversing and asking it. And then secondly, I'd build out a plan per day that I could reasonably do that based on the answers to the first thing. But I would caveat that for this question bothers me because you're using a highly physical goal, and then you're saying, okay, I want to apply this to content creation, and content creators should not have complicated multi-year goals. It's gonna fuck them up for sure. You could say something like like complicated, like none of us use the word complicated. You could have a very general goal, like I'm gonna have 10 million subscribers. That's fine, right? But like your goal number one that you're saying like climb a mountain is a highly physical goal with a lot of objective inputs. So like your diet, like you said, and your physical capability. Content creation doesn't have a lot of objective inputs. It's just creating the right things that get attention. You have to ask yourself different questions. I don't think I think if I were to look at the business plans of the vast majority of people, I would say that their business plan is too complex. Not their problem is not that their goals are like not outlined correctly. Their problem is that they're just not fucking working. They're literally just not like putting in the steps. And so most of that is because they're thinking about how to get 1 million subscribers in like 3 years, but they're not thinking about how to get 10 subscribers today. And so that is the thing I would recommend is like to not think about or like complicate goals in that way at all. And in the physical sense, that is a question of where like, okay, there's a lot of moving parts, but you would be surprised if you just set the end goal and then you did nothing future facing other than just say, okay, today, what is the number one thing I need to do to get to that goal? You'd probably exceed the ability to climb El Capitan by the time that you get there. If all you asked yourself, if you had no future plan, if you said day to day, what's the thing I need to do? Well, I think I need to do a 4-mile run for endurance, or today I think I need to work on my strength. I could almost guarantee you would be at the position by the time that you were ready to climb that mountain that you would just dominate it. And more or less what I did for Tough Mudder was just train every day and make sure that that I was ready to do it. One person dead or alive to have a 3-hour conversation with. Who is it? That's easy. It's the Buddha, 100%. By far the most interesting person in history to me. Like a person that, well, there's a couple of reasons. Nobody cares about this question except me, so I'm going to just answer it briefly. But so first of all, we have a really good idea of what the Buddha actually said and was like, because we have Pali, which is a rhythmic language. So Pali, the sentences in Pali begin and end in a certain way, meaning that there's very little room for messing with the actual stuff. So the Tipitaka and the words that we have from the Buddha from the point that he became enlightened at like 34 years old, and then he had a bunch of people following him around, basically just like well, I guess where the misinterpretation was supposedly is that orally they recounted what he said, so that's where it could have gotten messed up, and then later they wrote it down. But there was a lot of practices in original Buddhism to get that oratory voice correct. So in other words, sorry, it's very accurate. Many of the Hindu scriptures that are thousands of years old are exactly the same as they were before, because orators in ancient India were very dedicated to stating these things, like universal words had great power and weren't misinterpreted. So like things like Om, right, is something we've said for thousands of years, and has certain power related to Brahma and all this other stuff you don't care about. So anyway, the Buddha's words were taken very literally and then written down in Pali later. It's a good bet that we have almost exactly what he said, versus the Bible, for example, went through tons of different translations, everything from Aramaic to Greek to Anglo-Saxon to Old English to English to the King James and King Solomon versions now, that we lost a lot of meaning in the translation of those scriptures, or that the meaning just got mixed up. Like most people's conception of sin, like today, is like some kind of affront against God. But in the Greek version of the Bible, it just meant that you're missing a mark and that you have to recalibrate and rethink it. So there's tons of stuff like that, thousands of examples in the Bible. So the Buddha would be really interesting because I have a good idea of who he is, because I've just read so much of what has been written in Theravada Buddhism. But I think it would still be like a really incredible conversation. Runners up would be like modern people like Obama. There's so many people, man. There's so many interesting people. Yeah. Will you ever publish your talk with Sweet Anita? Maybe. So there's two talks I can't find. Sweet Anita is one of them, and then Moist Critical had like a 9-hour conversation with him. I never posted on YouTube. I was really lazy back when I was broadcasting, so hopefully those aren't lost. But Twitch is so terrible with VODs. I don't know. If anyone finds them, let me know. Did you see TikTok has officially made streaming software for their platform or desktop? Yep. Yeah, we've talked about TikTok a lot. I think this is more of an old question. Hi, I loved you and your Hot Breach podcast. Thanks. I have a BS in neuroscience. Do you have recommendations for getting experience instead of going back to school for a second degree in marketing? Oh, I'm looking to get a business in marketing, working in specific companies. From what I can tell, masterclass is an option. How would you advertise that on the CV? That was a good question. He's basically saying I've got a degree in something and I want to get into marketing and advertising. So first of all, marketing and advertising is really sales. You have to understand that like sales is or sales is like direct response, or like direct response means I call, email, or contact you to get you to buy a thing, and then you buy that thing, right? But like marketing, advertising is you buy a thing because you saw an ad, or were influenced, or whatnot, or some other thing. So you have to decide like what you want to learn first, because I think that sales can teach you a lot about marketing, but it's important to understand the difference between these two things. First of all, going back to school to get a degree in marketing is probably almost certainly a waste of your time. If marketing professors were good at what they did, they'd be running million-dollar businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses. Save for the very few marketing and advertising professors that are like retired people that have done that, then maybe. Otherwise, no. You're not going to get a lot out of school for that. The best thing that I can recommend is on-the-job experience, or doing a side hustle where you have to learn something like pay-per-click, in which case you would take like a Udemy course or something. Once you know your specific field of marketing that you want to cover, so it's like, I want to cover getting attention from people on YouTube. Okay, like there's something you could do there. We talked about it earlier. I want to cover pay-per-click. Okay, well, there's probably a Udemy course. Or I want to cover advertising specifically in print format, right? There's something. So like, first of all, you have to like kind of narrow down what kind of advertising marketing, or if you want to do sales, right? There's a lot of sales. Absolutely the best thing you can do is get a job in sales, 100%. Ideally with a good mentor. If you have a great mentor in sales, like, man, that will change your life for sure. Because sales is a skill that pretty much everybody needs. And yeah, I wouldn't underestimate like masterclass or Udemy. But ultimately it comes down to doing it and specifying like what field you want to be in within those categories, because they're so large. Like marketers, typically, I don't personally consider marketers. Like, it's weird to me that there are positions in companies. It's like I'm a marketing manager. Like, what does that mean? Like, or a VP of marketing. Like, your company focuses on a specific type of marketing usually. Like maybe you do like 80% of your business through pay-per-click, or 20% of your business through, magazine ads or something like that. So the type of marketer you are matters more than like just being a marketing person. There are very few people that are like really good at marketing across the board. Hi, I'm a Twitch streamer with 200 to 300 viewers. Just curious if you could talk about what is the appropriate amount of money to sponsor. I think this was asked last year. I recently did a video on this that was like exactly how to get sponsors. You just watch that. Answers the question, like actually answers the question. Can you add an NFT and play to earn crypto gaming channel under theme channels? No. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on TikTok starting a live streaming service on desktop, how that'll shake up the market. So this is like written back in the time. Sorry, this is the problem about going through old stuff. We've since seen TikTok like basically take over the IRL category. Super successful. Yeah, lots to say about TikTok if there are more specific questions. Can we get an AOE 4 channel? I added one. Great game still. Was there once a talk with an accountant about creators and taxes? I did have a talk like that. I don't know where it is. But it's fairly simple. Like if you're a creator, you should have an accountant. A CPAs are relatively easy to find. Hi, I have a YouTube revenue related question. I got 3 super chats totaling $119. Total transaction revenue is $58, is 49%. So let's get 70% minus fees. I live chatted with YouTube, and they basically said it's fees and taxes. And yes, that's accurate. Am I overthinking it, overreacted? A guy super chatted me $49, $19.99, $49 again. All 3 went through. 49% is ridiculous. Is that really the standard? I don't really know. My question would be like, since you're still here, he's still a colored name. I'd be curious if this is still happening. I'd want to follow up to this, because I assume it's been a long enough time that like you've answered this. I haven't heard of this. Like generally speaking, it almost is always the 70%. And I think that if this was happening on a large scale, we would hear about it, right? How are you? What are your Christmas and New Year plans? Rip, old question. What kind of mental do you need to hit stream and upload? Are there any fears or insecurities you feel that might make you not want to do YouTube or Twitch? Just hit the go live button. I've done that before. I don't know how to find something unique to me. Could it be something common? I don't know. People overthink shit so much. Okay. I'll just like answer this question. So the biggest mistake I made in my kind of like upcoming in content creation or business or whatever was I kept trying to add things in order to make other things easier. So like, for example, okay, I can't stream every day. I need to get into the mental place where I need to be able to do that. So I got to add meditation. I got to eat better. I got to work out. I can't get into, I'm distracted all the time. So I don't actually work. So I need a good morning routine where I wake up early. I drink green tea. I meditate. I write my thoughts in a journal. You know what all that shit is? It's not fucking working. It's just more procrastination to try to get you away from actually working. Like you should do all that shit, right? Like, but it shouldn't be attached to the context of like actually working. It took me so long to figure this out that like you actually can just go hit the stream button. And like the fear and insecurity stuff is just more procrastination illusion that like it's a skill to do this. It sounds really dumb, like just don't be insecure forehead, but it actually is the answer. Where it's a skill where like at first you'll suck at it. You'll be like, okay, I showed up at work and I only worked for 2 hours out of the 8 hours there. That sucks, right? But if you try again, maybe it'll be 2 hours and 5 minutes or 2 hours and 15 minutes. Before you know it, like you'll be effective if you just focus on being effective and don't waste your time on all this dumb bullshit. So like if you want to go live, just go live. I'm not going to answer this question with like, oh, there's like 1,000 different ways to like improve your mindset so that you can magically hit the live stream button or you can create a YouTube video. Like the answer is just to create. The answer is literally to just go do it and to remove as much inertia as possible between that and your goal. If you've got problems, then handle that shit on your own time, but like don't let it impact your work. No questions, thanks. Thank you. I have a question about the importance of language and nationality in streaming. Do you create content in English if it's not your native language? It feels like an environment full of native speakers proficient would be very hard to make. It feels like for nations below 50 million population, trying to achieve success there is harder. There's usually big established creators already in the viewer base for content in language other than English or Spanish feels incredibly small. Well, you have like really large people like Montana or German streamers that make it work. I don't know. I have an everyone eats philosophy about this where I just think that there are enough people to fill the market. It might be harder, it might be easier, I don't know. But that's all in like a macrocosm. It's in like a really large ecosystem that you're talking about. You don't need, if a nation of 50 million people and maybe like 1 million of them watch live streams, that's really generous. Like maybe like 200,000 of them watch live streams. You're not trying to capture all 200,000 of those people. You're just trying to capture enough to make a career. So I think that everybody eats. Obviously, English is the largest place. But like I could easily just turn the argument around and say, well, because there's not as many people broadcasting in that native language in those lower population categories, there's more of a chance for you to succeed. The way you take it is, well, there's not enough people in the country, so there's not enough people watching. I could say there's not enough people streaming in that language. There's there's more people that want to watch it. See, like it's all how you frame things. There's no evidence that I've ever seen that says that people who start broadcasting in a different language have any chance of like being weaker or whatever. Same with YouTube. And now like what's happening is a lot of YouTubers are using other companies to go out and make their old videos in other languages because it's so effective. I just think to say that the viewer base for content in like something like German or like any of the like common languages is just not accurate. And then yeah, maybe if you're like I'm the only Swahili or like, you know, ancient Roman language speaking person, like you've got a case where there's like 5 people that understand it, but like you can build a niche on like, you know, 1,000 true fans. You know, I only speak the dead language of the Samoans or you know, whatever. There's a possibility if you're marketing your targeting's right, you can do it. But yeah, if you have the option to speak in English, which you do because you wrote this question in English, then you should do that, and then you can put in your stream EN/language and attract both people. A lot of Russian streamers do that successfully. I'd love to see a Patreon video showing your outline prep organization of how you make videos. Do you vibe or freestyle on the topic and write it down in a notepad as it comes to you? What I do is I brainstorm like 100 ideas. And so I'll just literally write like I'll just literally do like Twitch, YouTube money, YouTube people, Mr. Beast, how to create content, and now I decided I want to do a video about Mr. Beast, right? Like I'll do stuff like that where I just do stream of thought stuff for like an hour, and I'll probably come out with like several hundred things, and then most of them will be dog shit, and then some of them won't be, and those ones I'll take and I might expand. If I then I do 3x3x3, so I do 3 things that I want to like be the foundational pillars of the video, and then 3 points for those 3 points. I do an attention getting device, which is a something that I will put at the beginning of a video of why I think that the video is going to be important. And then I'll write down all my notes and my research on it. It actually takes quite a long time these days for me to do my videos because they're 50 minutes long and they're heavily researched and they need to be right. So that's actually harder to do than it looks. And I do them in one take, which means I need to be completely prepared and not screw it up. So I think a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is for me to do my videos. I don't think there's anyone else on YouTube that does shit like that, at least like really in-depth business concepts that last that long. So they have to be right. So these days my videos are very well researched. They're not scripted though; they're just improv, but they're based on really good data. I have like links and clips and things. Maybe I do a video on exactly how I do it. I don't know how useful that would be to people. I saw your video on NFTs. Oh my god, we're in 2022. Let's go. Okay. However, I don't see the example you provided being able to have a voice in game. Is any different from things already done for developers? So this is a dude arguing about NFTs. This is at a time when NFTs and cryptocurrency were really prominent. These days they're not. But my opinion on NFTs and my opinion on cryptocurrency remains the same. I do think that NFTs will be incorporated into gaming in a fundamental way. I basically think they'll be synonymous with gaming. I just don't know when. I don't know if you'll call them NFTs, but the concept of using the blockchain to trade items and to host items within games will be commonplace in, you know, X number of years. And it doesn't matter that OpenSea is trading like 90% below below the volume that it did at its peak. These things are always cyclical. I've been in Ethereum since it was $150. Like I'm not worried about this downturn. Now that said, I didn't put a single dollar into NFTs when it first came out because I saw the writing on the wall. But I am invested in a lot of like cryptocurrencies that I see are building structure that I think will become fundamental over time to like a lot of the way that business is done. The smart contracts and blockchain just make a lot of sense. I think I've outlined the reasons why in a lot of my YouTube videos. Understanding that people are going to disagree is just fine. Yeah. Thank you for the video on NFTs. This isn't a question. So you can see this is the NFT arc when I was making several. But it was my most unpopular videos of all time. They have like a 50% like rate. This is not a question. It's just a Maya person wanting me to do something for her. Hi, I'm a designer in an AAA game industry. Is pay and play to earn is a hop, step, skip away from pay to win? This is not a question. There's people arguing about NFTs in my Ask Devin chat. Jesus. Okay. I've been a DJ in the past. I don't have any clue how to market my music. Can you give me some advice or point me in the right direction? Oh my god, such a long answer. Ugh. I think I'd have to make a separate video about this, so I'm going to skip this question. I don't think there's enough people specifically making music, and at some point I might make a video about how to market music specifically, but I don't like to avoid questions like this because it's literally like a 60-minute answer. I can't do it. Possible content suggestion analysis. God dang. Okay, not an Ask Devin question. Okay, that's okay. We get through them fast. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to answer this person's question. Unable to find a job. Started streaming over a year ago on Twitch. I know nothing about social media. I enjoy streaming but want to use my environmental science degree more. But just a quick aside, people that ask questions like this, I can't even, man. Like, if you're ever going to ask questions to industry professionals, like, ask them as succinct and as specific as possible. Blogging anonymously, especially in the science field, looks weird or suspicious. It would be nice to have my blog associated with my real name. What do you think? Okay, so this is basically a question, do I use my real name or not? Which I answered in a video, I think, recently. The answer is you use your real name for science stuff. And don't overthink it. Like, nobody cares. I just don't think. I mean, look, there are implications to being famous, and you have to be aware of that kind of stuff. But like, for the vast majority of people, I use my real name for absolutely everything. I don't care. I do think there are some considerations you should make to that end as a woman. Unfortunately, it's just like the reality that we live in. You could consider VTubing. And if you're really worried about this, you could consider VTubing. And I think a VTuber that was focused on environmental science, and you wear like a cute little lab coat and you have like glasses on or something, that'd be really neat. And that's like a cool idea I haven't seen before. Maybe try that, right? But generally speaking, you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff. Environmental advocates actually receive an alarming amount of death threats, and in many countries are even killed for their work. I think that's true of many different professions. Try the VTubing angle. I think that'd be really cool. What's the best way to find? Good question. What's the best way to find good partner brands for collaboration and sponsors? Influencer, cosplayer. Watch my videos on like how to get sponsored. Can I get a Warhammer tabletop category? I wish. Channel in my Discord. It's not popular enough. What do you think about Amazon Live shoppable live streams? I don't know if this launched today or has always been a thing, but advertising doesn't mean anything about Twitch. Amazon will periodically hire Twitch streamers or just their own like QVZ type stuff to just like advertise products or stuff. It's just a division of Amazon that works around. They've been around for a while. It doesn't have any implication to like the long term of Twitch. They're not affiliated with Twitch, just Amazon's shopping channel. They use IVS, which is like it looks a lot like Twitch because they're using IVS, which is the technology that Amazon pulled out of Twitch when they acquired them. It's one of the reasons why they acquired Twitch. I have a clips channel on YouTube. I post on Instagram and TikTok. Is 100% necessary to make full-length videos for growth, or are clips fine? I post clips and stuff daily. I'm seeing little to no results for YouTube full-length videos on the main channel. Depends what you want to accomplish. If you, again, like there's an implication to clips that like they're not as monetizable. They don't draw audiences in the same way that long form does. Yeah, it just depends entirely on what you want to accomplish. You might want to ask a follow-up question that is more specific. I saw your latest DMCA video has this impact Discord live stream calls. I see this in many Discords where they play movies and such in calls. I don't think that Discord will ever be impacted by DMCA in any meaningful way. It's just too difficult to enforce. Every like you'll always see people streaming movies and shit in individual Discords. Maybe if it's a huge Discord, it might get DMCA'd. But like if somebody is sitting in my Discord and like streaming Dragon Ball Super, like no one is gonna DMCA. There's not gonna, unless like there's some technology that comes along that gets applied to Discord as a whole that live captures. Then maybe, but we're so far away from that, even on platforms like that Discord is like so far away from anything like that. Another DMCA question. This is too long. Just needs to be answered. Just needs to be asked better. He's like quoting lawyers and stuff. I just don't. Right now, it's time to act feature of copyright. Okay, not a question. Hi, maybe this is a very stupid question, but I guess it's better to ask. Is Devin Nash okay with anybody reacting to his videos on stream? Yeah, you can react. You can create clips. I will never DMCA somebody for anything. I don't care. Even bad stuff. Good. All publicity is good publicity. I don't care. Hey, Devin. So I'm having trouble finding the market cap of live streaming. A lot of online sources fail to distinguish the two. Do any of you have a legitimate source I can compare and contrast the two to find an accurate lump sum? I would ask why you care. The reason why there isn't a firm number on this is because it is extremely difficult to segment live streaming, as you found, right? Like, what is live streaming? Well, like the industry considers live streaming to be anybody that's streaming live, right? So that could be any number of things. Like, do we add Instagram Live into that? Do we add like TikTok Live? Do we add like if you're just looking for like the market cap of like just Twitch, for example? I mean, just read Amazon's SEC filing. Same with Meta, it's a public company. So that's where you would find a legitimate idea of like where those cap out. But if you're looking for like the industry as a whole, that data is difficult to ascertain because it's just so general. Like there are so many, like you can't get that data unless you segment what is a live stream. So if you said I only want gaming, so like you take like Facebook gaming, Twitch or whatever, you do the math there. And no, but like the reason why you're having trouble finding the market cap of live streaming is because live streaming means a million different things to a million different people. So you're never going to find the actual number unless you define like what you're looking for. Do you feel there are scenarios where it's more advantageous to stream on Twitch than YouTube? I have a cooking channel on YouTube and much of my stream content is relevant to that. I just like to stream games occasionally. At this time, which is 9/4/2022 at the time of this recording, there is literally no advantage I can think of streaming on Twitch rather than YouTube. It's literally never going to be the case that Twitch is a better place to start. If you have an enormous following and you want to move that over to Twitch, then maybe it's a better place just because Twitch monetization is better. But even then, in this day and age, TikTok Live is better at monetization than YouTube, than Twitch, excuse me. YouTube is always the better case. I also don't think that, like you would absolutely run into the same problem on Twitch ad nauseum, where it's like, okay, I want to stream games, but I'm mainly a cooking channel. Like your channel will die when you stream games and vice versa, right? So, yeah. Can we get a video from you about your NFT product investments? I'm curious about your bags. I will never tell you what my coin investments are. That's just my own, like, I get a lot of questions like that. I'm super against that ethically. I don't want to promote. First of all, I don't have a single dollar in NFTs. I don't have a single dollar in NFTs. I never have. And at some point I might, but the industry would have to be like way developed, like 10 years from now. I do have a lot of money in cryptocurrency, like about 8 to 9% of my assets. And like outside of the obvious ones, I just don't feel ethically comfortable with promoting those coins. I don't think that most people should be investing in cryptocurrency. I think unless you have a highly disposable income and you can allocate some percentage of your assets to extreme risk, you should not be in cryptocurrency. And because I know the majority of my audience is not that, I'm not going to answer that question. As I think it would be harmful for me to do so, especially because I'm an industry authority and an investor, that people might take me seriously and start putting the money into that and lose everything. If you were to, like let's say I answered that question, I gave you all the coins that I invested in like 9 months ago, all that shit's down right now like 60%, 70%. Now, I haven't sold a single bit of it because I'm sure it's going to go back up. But would I be able to trust you as an individual to have the emotional fortitude to not let go of that stuff? Or maybe you have to because you just don't have the assets. You need to pay it on bills and shit. Not comfortable with that. We're not doing that. You want to share your take on if it's worth it to upgrade from affiliate to partner on Twitch? Being an affiliate with 2,000 subs, 75 average viewers, do you think it's anything worth it to upgrade when revenue is still 50-50? Do you lose even more freedom if you achieve partner instead? You've already given up your freedom to multi-stream, going from affiliate to partner. Going to sign up for affiliate. So you don't really give up more by being a partner. I actually don't think there's that much disadvantage to going partner on Twitch. Your contract doesn't really change. They've already got you for everything on affiliate, which is kind of like why I made that video on affiliate being a scam, because you literally have all of the costs of being a partner, but none of the benefits. So once you are an affiliate, moving up to partner makes perfect sense. Every affiliate should be trying for partner, and getting those better splits and possibly more recognition from Twitch. Hi, I was just curious about your thought. Where are we at? Oh, 41 minutes. Okay. I was just curious about your thoughts of reposting content subbed into different languages, making new channels for those languages. That's a great idea. There's a company that does it called Spotter, I think. So there's a company now that can. I might have that wrong, but you can look up whoever does like Mr. Beast, Dude Perfect, like that. They work for content creators. TLDR on this question: doing multiple language videos is incredibly beneficial, and like there's actually been a lot of like weird accidental blow ups, like Mizkif, for example, blew up in Japan just from some random person translating his videos into Japanese. Huge opportunity here. A lot of people sleep on. Will you talk about Trovo Live? Maybe. This is not a question. Not a question. A network attempt. Is there a way to find out why someone was suspended from Twitch? Nope. Twitch has a zero communication policy with the public on why someone has been banned. It is for this reason that there are many deep conspiracies in the Twitch world from certain indefinite bans that if people really knew the truth of, it would shake the foundation of live streaming. But only the agency world knows, and the lawyers. Goal at the moment is to build 20 to 50K subs in 4 years. I make primarily video essays. Any advice building a YouTube channel dedicated to education? Too general of a question, but you know, I just be bullshitting the answer. Just be like, you know, look at channels that are already successful, blah blah blah. Like look at it, like, you know, learn what gets attention. Yeah, just too general of a question. What will happen to YouTube gaming since Ryan has left? Well, we can answer that question since it was 8 months ago. The answer is it's still good, which was my answer the day after he left. Right, YouTube still has a very serious team, very good CEO, very committed towards gaming. Someone in content creation was talking about not knowing how to come up with ideas. It reminded me of a sports broadcaster, and he believes that being obsessive isn't a bad trait. You're well in tune with a lot of creators. Would you describe many of them as obsessive? I would describe most of the top creators as narcissistic, so that they're obsessed with themselves. And some of them, by extension, are obsessed with the content they create. But it starts with a very self-centered attitude, because you have to be, especially to be a live streamer. Less so on YouTube. Yeah. Why you should never become a Twitch affiliate was very informative. What are some other ways to recommend to monetize a stream on Twitch? I really appreciate it. Please let me know if there's anything I can help do this community. Preferably one I can have a trigger alert for stream elements. So, like, what are some of the creative ways to monetize on Twitch? One of the ones that a lot of people sleep on, let's give you one because this is a billion-minute question answer, is Twitch integrations, extensions. So you can actually go on Fiverr and get a person to code an extension for you that makes certain things happen within a game for, like, hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars, not tens of thousands of dollars, very cheap. And even with small broadcasts, you can make huge amount of money doing this, like upwards of like $5,000 to $10,000 a month from a couple of the like 200 to 300 viewer streamers I see that are doing this that I talk to. And so thinking about how you can integrate, actually there are also this is it's going to sound like a weird suggestion, but another place you could go is go to websites like Chatterbait and or like Strip Chat or websites like that, and just look at how they monetize live streaming. So like porn websites typically monetize live streaming so much better than like someone like Twitch does, where there's a transactional relationship between I donate a certain amount of money and something happens. So in porn, that transaction is very obvious, right? So like I might donate this and then the girl or guy does something, right, sexual or whatever. But in the gaming world, there's the same transaction, but nobody sees it. It's like, okay, maybe I donate $10 and something happens in the game, or I have to I donate $15. You have to drop your weapon on the ground and find a new one, like in Path of Exile or something, right? That's really interesting. And so, like, a lot of times in other industries have solved the problem, but you just don't think of it because they're in like some weird industry. Like porn is a great example of this. I think that like the Twitch streamer that goes over and looks at what like the number 1 through 10 girls on Chatterbait are doing, and then mimics some of that stuff over to their stream and incentivizes viewership in the same way. Where like, okay, like you can make something happen on stream, or I have to do something on stream in order to like get this donation, is going to be like insanely successful. It still hasn't happened yet, but like that's going to be a big thing. Huge fan of you when I learned that Lovely went to YouTube. Watched a ton of your stuff. Thank you. Watched your NFT video and I liked it. Thank you. Oh, it's like watch a video, but thanks. Yeah. Have a good week. Is there a way to see even Novo or even Nerd Fusion's visions, values, goals, or similar statements? Trouble crafting my own. Think of real world examples. I have some good stuff with Ethan Evans on like how to build good business plans, stuff like that. I could build more if people are interested. The best way to see like Noah's vision is just to go to our website and read the copy that I wrote about it. I have pretty extensive like stuff on that. It's like Ukraine stuff. Oh, this is what I specifically asked for Ukrainian charities because we were doing a donation drive for it. What are your thoughts about the nonchalantness of the world as we watch the Ukraine thing? Is it healthy? Is it bad? Is it anything? It's news. I mean, it's just like the war is still going on every day, and we focus on like fresh blood, so it just unfortunately there's just like not as much support going towards it. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, like it's kind of just human nature, right? That we're just gonna kind of focus on the next thing, and also that it's just so macro that there's not much we can do about it. Like if there's going to be a nuclear exchange between Russia and America, I can't do anything about that. And certainly I can't worry about it every day because I'm not, the president, and I'm not even in politics. I can't do anything. I can make a YouTube video about it, and who cares? You just can't worry about that shit. Also, give me a blurb about your life. Anything fun for the current weekend? Usually spend weekends with my SO. I work on weekends, actually. I work the same amount of time, so I spend the after time with my SO. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a ton of fun. But what I do, it's gaming, so I'm playing a lot of multiverses, which I love. I'm Superman main, and I'm playing a lot of Path of Exile. But I quit the Lake of Calandra League early because I don't like the I don't like the way the game is going right now. How can I bring viewers from TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram over to my Twitch channel? Calls to action is the answer. It's literally just that. So calls to action literally is, I think I have a video on great calls to action. If I do not have that video, I know I have one on Patreon. But if it's not on the main YouTube, maybe I'll throw it over there. But you can just like toss $5 at the Patreon and go find it. Out of the like 75 videos we have there. So the way is calls to action. Yeah, do great calls to action is another skill set that I've answered in videos before. I think I'll end on this question because we're almost an hour in. How do you stay focused on projects in the mid or long term? I keep bouncing between ideas. It's getting more frequent to the point where I don't know what I want to do on a given day. Yeah, I think this is the main problem that like people have in this day and age. It's like what I want to focus much more on talking about. In terms of like business success, advertising success, like and things like that. Staying focused and like being disciplined on a single thing is actually how you generate success. But it seems like we live in such a attention deficit society and just world that like people are getting caught up in these like really short-term reward cycles. And they've got like I talk to so many young people and they've got like 20 ideas about what they want to do. They've got like a YouTube channel on the side. And then like the other big problem with it too is they identify with like all of these things. So they'll say, I'm a Twitch streamer. I've got a TikTok. I'm a TikToker. I've got like, I'm like researching this. Like you're not really doing any of these things. Like you're not actually an expert in any of these things. I don't know completely how to solve this problem yet. I think it comes down to, one of the things, I'll just share some, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to answer this question completely because I'm thinking about the problem myself, but like I'll answer in some ways that I have seen and known to be effective so far. Number one is I think most people, like 99% of people, should focus way more on cutting things out of their life than they should adding things. You probably have enough things. And the basics of a great life are like pretty straightforward. Like have a good, consistent physical activity that you do 3 to 5 times a week. Have a great relationship with the man or woman that you are in love with that loves you. Have a supportive group of family. If you can't have that, have a supportive group of friends. And then work on something, like one thing, that is solving a problem that is moving the world forward in some way. I think most people are not focused on projects because they kind of implicitly know that their project doesn't really matter. Like, if your goal is to build a gaming TikTok where you have like the best clips and your TikTok gets huge, I think that like the lizard brain inside of the human that's building that TikTok kind of knows that it doesn't fucking matter. And thus they tend to like flitter onto all these other projects versus like what has kept me consistent with making YouTube videos for the Devin Nash channel is that if I were to really audit myself, I know that those videos matter. Nothing matters in the great scheme of things, in the fullness of time, of course. But for the impact that they make on the human that watches them, they're adding some kind of positivity, some kind of emotion or action item into the universe in a way that I am happy with spending my time doing. So many people are attention deficit and have like 6 or 7 or 8 projects because their project isn't really solving a problem for humanity, no matter how minor, right? Like I'm not solving world hunger. I'm not curing malaria, right? But I'm doing something that is positively impacting humanity at some scale. And because of that, I feel inclined to do it again the next day. And I find that the more projects that I focus on that are concentric to helping others or providing service in some way, the more that I tend to focus on those things and not get less interested over time. in the same exact way, you have to structure goals in a way that you don't lose sight of those goals in the mid to long term. For example, I think that if you try to build a physique, like a physical activity, because you want to look as good as possible, that's sort of inherently a failing goal, because you'll like, even the fittest people will have off periods of time where their body doesn't look great, and that will demotivate you. Whereas the reason why I work out is because I legitimately want to feel great inside myself every day. I want to feel like a fit person, and I do all of my workouts to feel better inside myself. So I do a lot of yoga, I do a lot of like body weight stuff. Now, like, if I were looking to be the strongest person possible, I would be busting out like 5x5s, squatting super heavy, deadlifting super heavy, eating and cutting and bulking like perfectly, eating like 1.5 grams of protein every day. But that shit's miserable. Like eating, chicken breast 8 meals in a row every day, right? Like, it's just like not happiness for me. So maybe I'll start off on a project like that. In the short term, I'll be okay. But the motivation falls out from under me in the mid to long term because it's just exhausting, right? Whereas like going to hot yoga, running, lifting moderate amounts of weight, doing kettlebell training, stuff like that feels awesome and makes my body functionally stronger and more flexible, less pain. I'm super encouraged to do that every single day. That'll never drop out from under me because I'm just like, it has like that benefit on me. I'm not doing it for bullshit reasons. So that answer is kind of the same, right, as like the previous one where I said like making a gaming TikTok or whatever. Like, unless you're really truly passionate about that, it's just not something that's going to hold your interest in the mid to long term. You need to be doing things that benefit humanity. You need to be doing things that benefit yourself in a real way. And all of these aspirations like fame and like money and like popularity or like clout or whatever will always fail you, because even if you achieve those things, you'll be miserable since you didn't build these things on a foundation that was like actually healthy. That'd be my answer. And that's my video. We're an hour in. So thank you guys for coming out for Ask Devin number 3. We are at 3/22/2022, which is great. So we looks like we still have 10 billion questions to answer. Not really. It looks like it's like 40 questions. So I'll do another one of these soon. Thanks everybody for coming out and watching these. I'm surprised how many people want to watch them. Yeah, talk to you again next time. Bye.